Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to this webinar about PG&E's Community Wildfire Safety Program. My name is Tom Smith. I'm the Senior Manager for our Customer Emergency Planning and Operations team, and I'll be moderating tonight. We're here to share information about what we are doing to reduce wildfire risk and make our systems safer. So first, to start, let's get a little housekeeping out of the way. You can participate in this webinar with American Sign Language by clicking the link that was just provided in the chat. If you would like to get this information in a language other than English, we will be hosting in-language presentations this summer. Please check pge.com/webinars for the schedule. To view real-time closed captions in English, Spanish, or Chinese, please click the CC button in the bottom right corner of your screen. You can change the language by clicking Settings and adjusting the captions and subtitles area for the different languages. For our presentation tonight, we want to make sure you have an opportunity to ask questions and give us your feedback. Our presentation will be approximately 30 minutes, plus plenty of time for questions and answers. If you would like to ask a question, please send it at any time in the chat. If we're not able to get to your question today, please feel free to reach us at wildfiresafety@pge.com and we will respond promptly. We'll also be recording today's presentation and we'll post it on our website in a few weeks at pge.com/webinars. Now, let's talk about a little bit of safety. We always start all of our meetings at PG&E with a quick safety moment. So let's take a moment to mention some tips to help you get ready for and stay safe this wildfire season. We encourage everyone to prepare for natural disasters or emergencies, to build a disaster supply kit for you, your family, or your business, to make sure that you have enough food, water, extra medication, flashlights, first aid kits, and a list of emergency contacts and other tools that you need to keep safe. For more information on how to prepare for an emergency, visit safetyactioncenter.pge.com. Now that we've talked about safety, let's talk about today's agenda. So today we're going to talk about how we identify and reduce wildfire risk, the wildfire safety work happening in your community, an overview of safety outages and how they keep our communities safer, and available resources for our customers. Now let's talk about the team that's going to be with you from PG&E tonight. Joining me are Josh Sims, the Regional Vice President for the Central Valley region, myself, and Dylan George, our Local Government Affairs Representative for Alpine, Stanislaus, and San Joaquin counties. With that, I'd like to turn our presentation over to Joshua Sims, your Regional Vice President, to discuss the work we're doing to prevent wildfires in your community.
Thanks, Tom. Really nice job kicking us off. Appreciate you being with us to facilitate here this evening. Hello, everyone. My name is Joshua Sims. I'm the Regional Vice President for PG&E here in the Central Valley. Actually, I live here. I work here. I'm just your neighbor to the south here in Fresno County. So I'm happy to be here tonight. To understand where we need to focus our efforts, we first identify where wildfire risk is the greatest. These high fire risk area maps will show where risk exists in our region. Now, this helps us where we want to target our work, our wildfire work, that most important work. And this next slide I really like. It really is a great visual on all of the different layers, multiple layers of safety protection that we put forth in our wildfire work, and really to protect our customers from wildfire. Since we launched our Community Wildfire Safety Program, we have reduced wildfire risk in our system. We've accomplished this through a combination of ongoing safety programs, long-term improvements, safety programs, and new situational awareness tools. These measures work together to provide customers with multiple layers of protection. So let's talk a little bit about these. What's new in your community? So now I'm going to talk about specific work that we're doing both to prevent wildfires and to help to reduce power outages. So a county work overview. Here you can see a map of installed safety measures in and around your community. I'll briefly touch on each of these more in depth. And now this, once again, here's the multi-layer of protection. We have sectionalizing devices installed, we have weather stations installed, and we have high definition cameras installed. We also are prioritizing underground power lines, strengthening poles, and installing stronger covered power lines in and near the high fire risk areas across our entire service territory. Something else we're doing is keeping trees a safe distance from power lines. This is very important. Trees are a big source of wildfire risk. That is why every year we inspect vegetation on about 100,000 miles of power lines. Yes, 100,000 miles of power lines. We prune and cut down more than 1 million trees that present a hazard. We do more pruning where we have had high volume vegetation cause outages. And together, this work reduces wildfire risk, improves reliability to our customers, and makes our electric system stronger. If any safety work is planned on your property, you can expect an advance notification from us by text or email. But if you want more information, you'll see there right on our page. You can also go and visit pge.com/trees. What else are we doing? Well, we need to strengthen the electric grid. We also are reducing wildfire risk by strengthening poles and installing stronger covered power lines. We call this overhead system hardening. This work will occur over several years and help prevent wildfires and significantly improve reliability during severe weather. Improving situational awareness. This is important. New technology. Right, to help us better understand and respond to risk, we also built and installed our own network of high definition cameras and weather stations. In 2022, we reached our goal of 600 total high def cameras, all installed, allowing the ability to see more than 90% of the high fire risk area we serve. We also have completed a comprehensive network of advanced weather stations, which give us real-time information. And you can see our cameras and stations in the community by visiting pge.com/weather. So undergrounding, lots of conversation around undergrounding. Once again, just one of the layers, multi-layers of protection. Undergrounding being one as well, an important one. We're committed to burying 10,000 miles of high voltage distribution power lines in and near the highest fire risk areas. Moving overhead power lines underground reduces ignition risk by approximately 99% in that location. Undergrounding limits future safety power outages, improves system reliability, and decreases the need for us to continue to do tree work. So undergrounding also helps lower ongoing maintenance and vegetation management costs. Maps with approximate undergrounding work locations for currently forecasted work can be found at pge.com/undergrounding. So with that said, I'm going to throw it back over to you, Tom, to talk a little bit more about wildfire safety outages.
Apologies, I was on mute. Thank you, Josh. Next, we're going to be sharing more about potential wildfire outages and the important updates for this year. So first, we're going to talk about enhanced power line safety settings. In 2021, we started a pilot of about 170 circuits in the highest fire risk areas and installed more sensitive safety settings. We call these enhanced power line safety settings. These advanced safety settings automatically turn off the power within 1/10 of a second if there's a problem to help stop wildfires before they have a chance to start. By reducing the time that a fault is on the system, such as a tree branch touching a line in this graphic, less energy is released, and that reduces the chance of an ignition. In 2022, we've expanded this technology to protect every customer who lives in a high fire risk area. We continue to see elevated wildfire risk throughout 2022 and into 2023. So despite the higher risk of last year with the extreme drought, there was a 68% reduction in reportable ignitions and a 99% reduction in ignition impact. That means that nearly all the fires started were smaller and impacted less acres, despite the very dry conditions that we saw last year. 100% of these electric circuits in the high fire risk areas are protected by these enhanced safety settings. We're going to show a map here in a moment to help you see where these areas are. While this technology helps make the system safer, customers may experience unplanned power outages. After there's an outage on an EPSS protected line, we identify outage causes before we repair, damage, and restore the power. We do a detailed outage review to identify causes and opportunities to further improve reliability. And here on the right, you can see an overview of the identified causes of the outages customers experienced from 2021 through 2023. Let's go on to the next slide. So we're committed to keeping customers protected from wildfires while also delivering reliable energy. We're definitely aware that some customers experience multiple outages. We're working hard to reduce both the number of outages and the overall length of these service interruptions. And in 2022, our team took immediate action to improve reliability. We installed fault indicators to speed up the restoration process. We installed bird and animal guards to keep them safely away from power lines. We, of course, trimmed the trees near the power lines, and we even transferred some customers to different circuits. Although some areas did see challenges with reliability, over 80% of customers across our service territory experienced 2 or fewer outages while being protected by the EPSS system in 2022. Now let's pivot over and let's talk about another type of wildfire safety outage, a public safety power shutoff. High winds can cause tree branches and debris to hit electric lines, which damage our equipment and potentially lead to wind-driven wildfire. And so that's why we may need to turn the power off during severe weather to help prevent these wildfires. This is called a public safety power shutoff, or PSPS. We use this tool when we expect the weather to be so severe that people's safety, lives, homes, and businesses may be in danger of wildfires. Of course, every wildfire season is different. We've received a lot of rain and snow over the past 3 months, but we know the dry conditions in late summer and fall that we're sure to get as summer has now, happy summer, summer's just started. We know that those dry conditions are still going to exist in late summer and fall, and they are a real risk. So actual real-time conditions will determine if we need to shut off the power to ensure safety. Now, let's pivot over and talk a little bit about the similarities and differences between these programs. I recognize PSPS, EPSS, a lot of acronyms, and that can be confusing. So I'm going to highlight some key differences. Every day, we look at the wildfire risk and we decide what we need to do to protect customers. EPSS reduces risk from fuel-driven wildfire, fuel like shrubs, bushes, tall grasses, etc. We activate EPSS when we have a combination of that dry fuel and low humidity. PSPS reduces the risk of a wind-driven wildfire. So when we have those northerly winds in the fall and those high winds, along with the dry conditions, red flag warnings with the dry material on the ground, and observations in real time from some of our safety teams, we have the need to call a public safety power shutoff event. Now, when we forecast those, we can inform you in advance of a PSPS because we base it on actual weather forecasting. We can't inform you ahead of an EPSS outage because it's automatic when something hits the line, which of course we can't predict. For any type of outage, we will inform you as soon as possible and give you regular updates. For more information on the status of any outage and the complete restoration process, customers can visit pge.com/outages. Now I'm going to hand it over to Dylan George, who's going to talk more about resources available in your community.
Thank you, Tom. Good evening, everybody. I want to add my thanks to all of you for joining us, spending some time out of your evening to learn more about wildfire safety. As Tom mentioned, my name is Dylan George. I am local government affairs representative for PG&E. I work with San Joaquin, Stanislaus, Alpine, and several other counties. I work out of an office in Stockton, and I live in Modesto, so I'm very familiar with the most of the area that we're talking about today. So I'm going to talk to you about several different programs available to support our customers, both in preparing for outages and during outages when they occur. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is community resource centers. Whenever we have a public safety power shutoff event, we will often almost always open community resource centers in the areas that are impacted by the power shutoff event. In Alpine, some of the things that you can find there are the ability to charge medical devices, the ability to charge electronics, phones, and so forth. Also some snacks, cold water, hot beverages, if that's more appropriate for the weather, and then oftentimes blankets and handouts that you could take with you. So next up, I'm going to talk about the Disability Disaster Access and Resources Program. We're going to cover that, several components of that over the next few slides. That is a bit of a mouthful, so we will refer to it by the nickname DDAR. For customers that are eligible for the DDAR program, PG&E will provide some support when we have these PSPS events, in some cases hotels, transportation, and food. There are several eligibility requirements, so I would suggest that for more information and to see if you're eligible for any of these, to check the website that you see on your screen there, and it is pge.com/DDAR. Next up, another component to the DDAR program is the portable battery program. So over the last several years, PG&E has provided a lot of batteries, about 18,000 of them, to our customers that qualify for the portable battery program. You can see on the screen there a lot of the eligibility requirements. We work with a third-party vendor on this, Richard Heath and Associates. Usually these are small generators that might be able to power one device, such as a refrigerator, but they often will help you get through an event by powering medical devices, phones, that kind of thing. And again, for more information on the screen there, pge.com/portable battery, which is all one word. All right, next up, the backup power transfer meter program. So as generators become more and more popular with our customers that live in the high wildfire threat areas, PG&E added something new last year, which is we have set up a different type of meter setup system that allows customers to easily and safely connect portable generators to it. This is something that is free for customers that have a compatible generator and live in eligible areas, and it saves a lot of money if you've ever tried to install a transfer switch at your home or at your business. Both homes and businesses are available for this. To learn more, again, there's a web address on your screen there, pge.com/transfer meter, all one word once again. So the last program that I am going to touch on is the self-generation incentive program. Again, this is a program that we have introduced as a result of more and more of our customers wanting backup power options. This program offers rebates to help customers save on energy storage programs that they might install at their home or business to prepare for a power outage. These are great backup tools for all types of outages. The types of emergency related outages that Tom has talked about throughout the presentation, and also just general winter storm and other kind of equipment caused outages. So once again, in following the theme, more information is available at the address that you see on your screen there, and in this case, it is pge.com/SGIP. So that will conclude my portion of the presentation, and with that, I will hand it back over to Tom.
Awesome. Thank you, Dylan. Great resources there for our customers. Please take advantage. If you think you're eligible, I encourage you to jump in there and take advantage of these programs. They are great, and they can definitely help you not only for wildfire season and some of these wildfire safety outages, but of course, all of these storm seasons, and with a potential El Nino event being forecasted for this later this winter, I would definitely encourage you to prepare yourself for that as well. So there's some great resources that will help you regardless of the reason for any service interruptions. So more customer resources and information about our wildfire safety efforts can be found at pge.com/wildfire safety, or by going directly to the pages shown here. So we've also got the 211 system, California network of 211 for our medical baseline customers. And we encourage those customers to get a pre-assessment. And then we also have the reported app. So for any customers that have that see hazardous situations, trees, leaning power poles, anything that you think is a non-emergency but a potential safety concern, something that could be a concern to you, we definitely encourage customers to sign up for that and help us be, multiply our eyes so we can make sure to keep your community safe. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the Safety Action Center link there that's on the screen. So that has some great safety tips, including our 7 Saturday series. So I encourage you there. So, all right. So we're now going to transition over to the Q&A portion of today's event. In a few days, we're going to have this presentation posted, as I mentioned, to the PGE website at pge.com/webinars. We received many great questions from you listening in. So you can ask a question. I want to remind you by submitting in the Q&A box via the chat. We're going to do our best to answer all the questions that we receive. There may be a few if they're specific to your specific situation at your home. We may, or if we can't get to your question today, we may encourage you to reach out to our dedicated email address for this program, wildfiresafety@pge.com, and we'll respond promptly. So with that, let's get started. I think the first question we have here, I'm going to turn to our regional senior manager, Greg Race, who is also on this call. Greg, we have a question from Martine, I believe, at the source reduction with the San Joaquin Mosquito District, and he's wanting to understand a little bit more about some of the partnerships and pilots that have been going on from a mosquito abatement and some of our equipment. So can you touch on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you very much, Martin, for the question. Mosquitoes are a hot topic across our service territory right now, and basically because we have some underground enclosures that house some of our transformers and equipment. Sometimes in the neighborhoods and communities, water is retained in those underground enclosures and become breeding grounds for mosquitoes. So 2 efforts were kind of taking place right now at PG&E. Locally, we're working with some of the mosquito abatement districts. A good example just recently was the city of Clovis. We've worked with them for the last 2 or 3 years to treat almost 2,600 underground enclosures just in that area. And treating meaning we go out with qualified electric workers, open up that enclosure, allow the mosquito abatement districts to throw in a treatment that squashes kind of the reproduction of those mosquitoes. So that's one way. If you're interested in working with PG&E to help do that, feel free to reach out to some of the links provided. Second of all, we're piloting a program that looks at the actual lids to these underground enclosures. And there are venting in these lids that sometimes allow mosquitoes to get in and then get into the water and lay eggs. So we're piloting a program right now that puts mesh, a confining mesh underneath those vents. And so far the pilots are we're looking at, they're being very successful in reducing the mosquitoes entering the vaults in the first place. So if that does take place and we can move that into our process in the future, that would be great. But those are just 2 examples of what we're doing right now to reduce the risk of mosquitoes in and around our facilities. So thank you very much for the question.
Thank you for that answer, Greg. And I'm up here in Amador County myself, and I can attest with all the rainfall that we've gotten so much water. And so thank you so much for the pilot program, and anything we can do to reduce mosquitoes and the risk of illnesses and just the pest overall is very welcome, I know, in our community. So thanks for all the work you're doing to pilot that. Okay, we're waiting on other questions, but while we're waiting, again, if you have a question, you can put it in the Q&A. So please do so if you have a specific question about any of the material covered or anything in general PG&E. But while we're waiting for some other questions, I'm going to turn to our other presenters tonight and ask if there was one thing that you would want customers to take away from this presentation, what would that be? Or if there was one thing you could reinforce. So first, I'm going to start with Josh.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, if we can go back to slide 8 for me real quick, the multi-layers, I think it's slide 8. I think it'd be good visual as we talk through this. Just right here, there we go. I love this right here. What a great visual of the multi-layers of protections that we're putting in place, whether it's the new technology, the weather stations, the high definition cameras, the enhanced protection, ensuring safety, whether it's EPSS, new technology, the trees, installing stronger power lines, undergrounding, all of this is really put in place to support against catastrophic wildfires. So, that's the one thing I always like to just reemphasize, that this is not just one. We're not just undergrounding. Undergrounding is a piece of it, but we're also the power lines, stronger power lines, the vegetation management, the EPSS, and using the latest technology. One thing we did not discuss here, but you can search for it as well, but our new X-Prize technology, the competition that we joined, right, to end catastrophic wildfires, just shows you how we're thinking differently, right? The opportunity to inform groups of new partnerships and connect. So we're partnering with innovators around the world to stop catastrophic wildfires. So last month we joined X-Prize Wildfires, a 4-year competition that encourages and brings together entrepreneurs, scientists across the world to advance solutions that will prevent catastrophic wildfires. So I encourage you to check it out. It's really cool. www.xprize.org. You can do some more information on there. We've also published and posted on our social media sites. But once again, just showing we're taking different steps, looking at new technologies to really continue to fight catastrophic wildfires. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Josh. All right, now Dylan, I'm going to turn it over to you. What would you want to reinforce or sort of circle back on from today?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. For me, I think the biggest thing to emphasize is there are just a ton of resources available out there, particularly for customers that live in the high wildfire threat areas, the tier 2 and the tier 3 areas. I've been with PG&E for quite a while, and I've seen our community wildfire safety program really evolve and grow and really make a lot of progress. That's in terms of the number of outages that we have, the length of the outages, the information we make available to customers, and also, and probably more so than any, the resources available to customers. So we work with a lot of great people at PG&E and a lot of great external partners, people like the California Foundation for Independent Living Centers and folks like that who do a lot of great work in the community. So, right now, before we get into wildfire season, would be a great time to, assess. Tom talked at the beginning about, kind of make a safety plan for you and your family. That's always important and always worth emphasizing. But wildfire safety in particular, right now is a great time to look into all of these resources. There were so many of them presented in the presentation tonight. As we mentioned, it will be available online, so you can go back and check that later. You could also just go onto pge.com/wildfire safety and, navigate around the page, use the 800 number, use the mailbox, and you'll be able to find, many of these great resources available to you, and we encourage you to very much take advantage of them.
Awesome. Thank you, Dylan. For me, personally, my biggest thing that I want to hit on, and I don't think we really discuss this very much, is with all of these, we talked about wildfire safety outages, EPSS, PSPS. The main thing that we need you to do as a customer is to make sure that we can reach you. So I want you to think about when you set up your PG&E account and how many years ago that may have been, and how you've changed your email address and you changed your cell phone, and you may have moved and you have a different phone number than the one you had originally listed on the account. And so I want you to think about that. When's the last time you've updated your contact information with us? A couple of simple, easy ways you can do. One, you can always go to our website, pge.com. You can call our 800 number at 1-800-PGE-5000, and folks can take your updates there. And so we really encourage you to make sure that that information is up to date, because these notifications that you're going to receive about any outages overall, be it a wildfire safety outage or just a general service interruption due to a storm or someone driving into a pole in your community, it's really important that we have your contact information. And we send out text notifications, phone calls, as well as emails. So and you can choose which of those that you receive for most of our outage notifications. Some of our wildfire safety notifications, when it comes to PSPS, however, we send them to everything that you give us, because we want to make sure that you get that critical information. So I think that would be my main takeaway, is think about the last time you've updated information with us, and take the initiative tomorrow or later tonight to get on that website and update your information, so you're sure that we can get a hold of you when we need to. All right, so I am not seeing any other questions. So I'm going to turn it over to Josh to go ahead and close us out for tonight.
Thanks, Tom. One did just pop in there late in regards to setting up time with Dylan and our local team there in Stockton, San Joaquin County, in regards to just having further conversations about the mosquito abatement project pilot. Yep, we will definitely reach out. Dylan looks like he's all over it and has the contacts that we need. Appreciate you, Dylan, being there, living local, and supporting our hometowns. We will definitely reach out to schedule that meeting with the proper folks needed. So thank you there. Let me just check. We're live here. So one last time, looking to see if any questions are there. Okay, if not, we'll get ready and close out. So in closing, I really just, for all those that joined us, and also our PG&E team, it's 6 o'clock on a Thursday night. We appreciate you just extending your workday, being here with us to support our communities, our hometowns. And for those that joined from our hometowns that we serve here in the Central Valley region, we just thank you for being here with us. If you have any questions that maybe pop up after, please don't hesitate. Email us at wildfiresafety@pge.com. wildfiresafety@pge.com. We thank you for being here with us, and please have a safe rest of your evening.